everyone! This is Remleiz from 40k Theories, and welcome to this new episode of Adeptus Podcastus. Joining me as always is Tactica Imperialis.
Hello everyone, I am on my own for now. Don't worry, comments, calm down.
Yes, don't worry, the little gun drone will be joining us shortly, I imagine.
Yeah, just in the charging station.
Yes, but we're not alone this week, for joining us as our returning guest this week is Aurelia Tempris.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here today.
You're welcome, and welcome back to the show. So, how is everyone doing today? I hope everyone's had a good New Year and a good Christmas and all that.
I haven't done any hobby in the entire Christmas school holidays, and I'm a little bit sad about that.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
It's first Christmas with a baby. I completely understand that I've been too busy to do it, but, you know, my Inquisition and my Vespid have sat in a box going, wah.
More or less than the baby.
Much less.
Mine was good. I got to spend some time with family. Not as much hobbying either, but I did get a little bit in. So that was nice.
That's good at least. Yeah. So, in the news this week, not too much though, there are a couple of big things, and one of them is pretty big, presumably with a big price tag. Suffice to say, did you buy Fulgrim Transfigured and pay upwards of 180 quid? Well, if you did, then fuck you, because there's a new version of Fulgrim coming out, and it'll obviously be much cheaper, and arguably, it's a much better looking model as well.
So this came out on Christmas Day. Happy Christmas. Happy Sanguinala, have a Chaos Primarch.
No, happy Slaaneschmas.
Yeah, Slaaneschmas.
That's right there, Neve.
Yes. This model has been, as I really like this mini, but it has genuinely been quite divisive because of Fulgrim Transfigured. Like, I think if you take this mini as a mini on its own, it is absolutely incredible as a Demon Primarch. Like, yeah, it's a very different Serpentine figure to, let's just say, Morathi, because that's the one everyone sort of uses as the baseline for snake-like minis in plastic, is Morathi.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very different silhouette and style of snake and everything because it's a literal demon. And the mini with the gilded armor, the different head options, the still using the Emperor's Children motifs, including the half Aquila in the armor is great. Loads of different weapons and weapon options. I believe there are different weapon options too.
There's even an option for a helmet.
I saw that.
Pretty good.
Which,
yeah,
as a mini in itself is absolutely brilliant. It is a fantastic miniature. However, because Fulgrim Transfigured exists, and I think it's, you've got the comparison in the Discord, I think it's definitely worth putting the two side by side in the edit as well. There are many people who prefer Fulgrim Transfigured, and I probably count myself among them. I love the new Fulgrim, but Fulgrim Transfigured I genuinely really, really like. Like, the wingspan is absolutely titanic, and it feels more of a natural evolution of Fulgrim, whereas this is what 10,000 years of demon crack gets you.
Or a virus bomb to the face.
I think I saw. And a virus bomb to the face, yes, that cannot be neglected. So I personally prefer Fulgrim Transfigured at this exact moment in time. I'm probably going to change my mind at some point. But as a mini on its own, it is absolutely fantastic.
I appreciate the fact that the new one has a different animalistic design for the serpent tail. That instead of it being like all scaly like a snake's or a dragon's, whatever, it's more like an eel with all the fleshy bits on it and stuff like that, looking very leathery. I appreciate that actually took some time to actually make them look distinct. And I think this new one's a bit more practical as well, because with that Titanic wingspan, how the bloody hell are you going to transport it, say, without it breaking? That's the worry.
That is true.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
This new one, since it's more compact, it looks like it'll be easier to actually transport, like if you want to actually play with it on tabletop, like your gaming club or whatever. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me currently, and I know if any of my fans listen to this, they'll laugh. But I'm in the camp of I like my Primarchs pretty, so I prefer the original Fulgrim, the first one. I just kind of like the way his face looks, but I do agree the way the Fulgrim Transfigured it looks now. It definitely reflects the lore much better than the current one, and you can see that decay over time, that perfection does take a toll. So I like both, but if I had to pick one, I'm going for a pretty Primarch.
That's fair. I mean, I do appreciate the fact that this new one does have like 4 separate head options.
Yes.
Granted, 3 of them are very similar, but I do appreciate the helmeted version. Just for some variety.
The helmet makes me very uneasy. Oh, I'm so sorry. The helmet option makes me very uneasy looking at it. I do not like it, but that is the whole point.
I mean, it's because we've never seen Fulgrim with a... I know he does have one, because all the Primarchs have a helmet, but no mini of Fulgrim has ever had a helmet, because why would you ever put that pretty face away? And was probably his own logic back in the day. But yeah, commitment to the bit, and they have done a genuinely exceptional job, and I'm sure many Emperor's Children players are relieved that they don't have that risk. I can say, as a Morathi enjoyer and a Morathi player, the wings can still chip. In particular, those little talons down the wings and on the tips, they break. Like, my Morathi's wings have never broken off her back. Well, actually, no, one of the wings did break off her back, I tell a lie. But all the bits on the ends snap off really easily. So even for those people who are like, oh yeah, it's just a transport issue, you've got to be aware that even this Fulgrim will be fragile, because everything that's gone before him has been breakable. Not like shatters if you look at it, but breakable. So you've still got to be careful.
I think because the new one is going to be plastic compared to like the resin one, there is lesser a risk of, if you drop it, it will just shatter completely. Like if it's plastic, there is some of that, flexibility, so you might just be lucky, it might just bounce if you're lucky.
Yeah, I mean, again,
as opposed to just dropping on site,
Yeah,
so.
like I say, I've got the plastic Morathi, and I've had her pretty much since she came out in 2018, and I have had to fix her wing and heart render, and almost all the snakes in her hair have snapped. So there are still a lot of bits. I appreciate I don't use a carry case as much as I probably should, and even then Morathi probably wouldn't fit in one. But just don't assume that because it's plastic, it's resilient. I'm not saying it will break if you look at it like Fulgrim Transfigured, but it's not going to be the sturdiest thing on the planet, and you should be aware of that.
But it will be easier to fix if it breaks if it's plastic.
Definitely. I think it's probably...
Because resin's a pain in the ass.
Yes, agreed. And I think the one thing that I really do appreciate about this version of Fulgrim, which you can't see if you look at the front-on thing, is just how good the armor is. Because, like, everyone's going to focus on it. You focused on the eel tail, which I completely agree is a really good change of pace. But the elegance of the armor... I painted Sigvald, the Slaanesh Sigvald, and that thing's armor is just beautiful to work on. And I can see painters really enjoying this, particularly the backpack to me looks fantastic. I don't know why they decided to rip his back apart, or is it his back or is it his stomach apart to brand? Oh, it's his sort of crotch area actually, in order to brand it with the Slaanesh sigil and rip his own flesh apart. I don't know why they decided to do that, but the armor is absolutely gorgeous, and I definitely think that it's a real painting challenge and a triumph as well.
And in answer to your question, why would he have that ripped away on his crotch? It is Slaanesh, after all.
I was going to say.
I know why, but why did the designers feel the goddamn need? It just, yeah. But then again, that's probably the point.
It's also, Fulgrim, little lore
question. Something cock and ball torture. Who knows?
Yeah. Little lore question, Rem.
Yes.
There is, and I quote, a heavy but plain broadsword that is constantly in Fulgrim's armory of ever-rotating weapons. And it says it was given to him by someone of great importance many millennia ago. What is that sword? Because it doesn't sound like his old sword.
Is it not Fireblade? The one that was given to him by Ferrus Manus?
But it says relatively a heavy, plain broadsword and unadorned. I thought Fireblade was a bit more elegant. And
it might, but I can't remember.
Adorned.
Yeah, I thought it was more ostentatious, I agree.
I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been a long time since I read the Fulgrim novel, I will admit.
Fulgrim, I'll just have a look at the original Fireblade and put that up against modern. Let me just get Fireblade up.
Because the original Heresy model, that was on with the Lair Blade, I believe.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm getting mixed up.
Oh.
Because Heresy Fulgrim doesn't have Fireblade, he has the Lair Blade.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Which he ended up giving to Lucius.
Oh, and when Fulgrim and Ferrus Manus fought, Ferrus shattered Fireblade.
He did. But there also are some sources that do state that he ended up just getting it back. So,
well.
Hashtag the warp did it.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a slight question to answer then about what that basic broadsword is. We're going to go with its Fireblade for now, but we could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm just going to assume it's Fireblade just because I can't think of anyone else of great importance who gave Fulgrim a weapon other than Ferrus Manus. So
Yeah, because Vulcan didn't make him one.
Yeah.
no, not to my knowledge anyway. He might have done because Vulcan. Was it Vulcan who gave all the Primarchs gifts? No, it was Pearl Rabba who gave all the other Primarchs gifts. Like the Clockwork Lion for Lionel Johnson. That was Pearl Rabba, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. What did he give Fulgrim? I don't recall.
I don't remember.
I don't know either.
I know he smashed a Clockwork Titan in Fulgrim's face.
Okay. Comments, sort us out.
Yeah, 'cause it was like a clock for Gilliman, a lion for Lion. It might have been a weapon for someone else, I don't know. It is Pert Rabba. He's a very good craftsman. Very underrated. Just like everything else Pert Rabba does, it's underrated. But anyway, speaking of underrated or overrated, the 2024 Miniature of the Year results.
This was interesting.
It was. Only one of them I actually expected to get to first place.
Yeah, like the AOS result was Usheran, and I think that was obvious.
Yeah, that was the one I voted for, so yeah. If we go fifth place first for 40k, in fifth place was Asmodai.
Which is a fine mini, but I wouldn't have said top 5 minis of the year.
No, I wouldn't have personally either. In fourth place, it was the Celestant Sacrosanct Aveline, which
Looks
yeah,
stupid.
I can see why. I can see why I got so high, because even though it is stupid, I can see why, because it's like impressively stupid, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I liked the way that looked.
In third place was the Inner Circle Companions,
Mm.
for some reason.
I don't get that one.
No, I don't get that either. In second place, Provisionally Prepared. I do get that one, though part of me does think recency bias, in fairness. But it is
There
a
is
good
recency
mini.
bias, but it is cool.
It is cool, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And number one was a pleasant surprise for me, considering they're my Legion of choice, Nemesis Claw for the Night Lords.
Yeah, it's the Chaos Space Marine. It's basically the best mini of the year is a Chaos Space Marines upgrade sprue.
Yeah.
Like, what does that tell you about the quality of 40k minis in 2024 that the best kit of the year is an upgrade sprue? That's bad. That's really bad.
Did you vote in this, Aurelia?
No, I didn't hear about this until I was going through the articles. I was like, man, I wish I had known. I would have looked through and I would have voted myself, but I will next year.
Yeah, just for the record, 6 through 10 were the Deathwing Knights, Vespid, Big Mech, the Red Gobbo, and Lamates. Like, the Vespid kit's good, but it's not that good.
Yeah, some questionable choices, I have to say. I think
Dark Angels fanboys. Hello, there's 3 Dark Angels units in the top 10. How many fucking Dark Angels fanboys are there in this bloody community?
And I think with, like, the Red Gobbo, for instance, I think that's another case of recency bias.
Same with the Vespid.
Mm-hmm.
Lamates is good, though.
It is good.
And the Big Mac.
But I agree with Provisionally Prepared and Aveline being in the top 5. I agree with those two, definitely. Because even though I may think Aveline's stupid, it's still ostentatious enough for it to be like, yeah, I can see why people pick that one.
Yeah. Now, AOS was a lot harder because there were so many good minis this year, like genuinely loads.
Yes. In fifth place, it was the Chaos Sorcerer Lord that was only recently announced. I think that might be another case of recency bias, personally, but
looking at what's in 6 through 10, it is completely recency bias.
yeah. In fourth place, Grombrindle.
It is a good mini, to be fair.
Yeah, good choice. Yeah, I agree with that. In third place, Abraxia. That's
It is a
another
great
one I
mini.
actually kind of agree with. I agree with that one. Yeah.
I like that one.
The whole top 3.
Yeah. I'm not a Chaos fan, but they look good.
Mm.
Yeah, and I really do like the Varangard, so that kind of thing suits me.
In second place was Vizix Scour, the Prophet of the Horn Rat, another good mini. I agree.
It deserves to win, but unfortunately, first place Usheran
It was going
is.
up against Usheran, yeah, and Usheran deserved to win, no matter how we slice it. That's like the best model to have come out, I think, from Games Workshop that year.
Yeah, if they were doing this as a full, like, best mini of the year across all communities, this kit should have won hands down.
That should have won.
Oh.
It probably
should have won.
It probably wouldn't have won because AOS just does not have the numbers, but it probably should have. The top 10 was the Rat Ogres, Marshall Ashfield, which is a Cities of Sigmar named character, Crethusa the Crone Seer, the Daughters of Cain Crone, which is a great
that
mini.
was a good one, yeah.
The Steel Rook, which I don't actually remember what that mini is.
I remember. I mean, it was like that knight with like the beak helmet and the hammer.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
was a
And
good one,
Taunus the Redeemed came 10th, which is another great mini. A bit overdone for me, but a great mini nonetheless.
Yes. And for specialist games, you had 5th place, the Alpha Legion Saboteur.
Yep, not bad.
In 4th place, the Necromunda Mousetrain Genestealer Alpha. A great mini, great shout.
I thought that would have come higher, actually.
Yeah. In 3rd place, Thousand Sons Librarian, which
I love
found
this
surprising.
mini, but it shouldn't be 3rd. I
I
love
was
this mini,
surprised
and
too.
A Thousand Sons Enjoyer, but it should not be 3rd.
Yeah. In 2nd place, Elise Duchard for Warhammer The Old World.
Yeah, Old World was always winning this year.
Yeah. And in 1st place, I do not agree with this at all, the Necrolith Bone Dragon. I think this is a shit mini, personally. I think it's over-designed and that dragon looks terrible.
But for the same reason as Sacrosanct Aveline, it is a very big, imposing, and impressively stupid mini.
It's big and imposing, but I think it just goes past impressively stupid, just being stupid. Like the wings ruin it, in my opinion, and it's so over-designed with that back throne. I do not like it.
Which is fair. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. 6 through 10 was the Lord on Pegasus, which I thought would have come in the top 5. The Chaos Dwarf Blood Bowl team. The Dwarf...
That surprises me.
No, they came 7th. Dwarf Lords
Yeah, no,
was...
that surprises me, yeah.
As in too high or too low?
They actually got in the top 10 period. That surprised me.
Well, they narrowly pipped their loyal friends as the Dwarf Lords with Shield Bearers came 8th. The Mousetrain Genestealer Gang came 9th. That tells you how popular the Mousetrains were. And the Questing Knight Paladin, which I think was the original reveal mini, came 10th.
Yes.
But yeah...
All in all, some interesting choices overall. I think we can agree on that.
And I have to say, 2025 already, with what we've seen, with Krieg, Fulgrim, the Eldari, Gloomspite, and others, like, genuinely, 2025's minis already, like the front end, look really good. I mean, I know Fulgrim's going to win. He's a shoo-in to win, because the Primarchs always win.
They always bloody win.
But, like, genuinely, there is so much cool stuff coming out in the next couple of months, so I think it's going to be a really good year. Yeah, Happy New Year, by the way. We didn't say that at the start. So, yes, Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes, I think I did say that, actually, but...
Sorry.
I might not have done. I could just be misremembering my own short-term memory being crap.
Yeah, same.
Anyway.
Right, let's stick with Genestealers for a second, because I want to talk about the store anniversary minis. I know that's an odd place to go, but I thought I would go there because they've done a really cool one for 40k. It's called Biosigns Terminated. And it is basically a Space Hulk Genestealer with ripped apart Terminator and all.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like at first I was like, that's a Genestealer and what? And then I looked at it again and went, what's the red thing? Oh, and then I looked at the side and I went, oh, that's a Terminator helmet. Oh, this is Space Hulk. And suddenly it went like 10 steps up in my opinion.
I tell you what, if that doesn't win in the top 5 for this year's Miniature of the Year, I'm going to be very pissed off.
With Phoenix Lords and Primarchs around, I don't think it stands a chance, unfortunately.
It bloody well should.
AOS gets Estena of Brighthall, which is a Knight Zephyros, kind of like Neve Blacktalon, but completely different weapons.
I like how that composite crossbow that's just like folded up on a hip. That's cool.
I like that too.
I think
That's
most
really
of the-
cool.
All compacted together.
Yeah, we never see them like that, but I think that all the Stormcast crossbows do that.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's cool to actually see it like that. It looks cool. It's
Agreed.
all compacted and stuff. That's cool.
Agreed. And then there's some other little store anniversary bits like pins and a flippable mat and things like that, but that's neither here nor there. Either way, though, some pretty decent minis. Admittedly, last year's mini was Invocation of the Elements, which obviously for me is up there. In fact, that probably would have been... I'm slightly surprised that didn't crack the top 10 for Mini of the Year for 40k, the Ethereal. I'm slightly surprised it didn't.
But again, probably because it was a store anniversary miniature, a lot of people probably just forgot about it.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Either or people just don't like the towel.
Well, Vespid came 7th, so...
Yeah, but that's also recency bias.
Yeah. So, where do you want to go next? Because...
Well, shall we just stick with Horus Heresy briefly? Because last episode we talked about the Legion Overseer. There's now a traitor version.
It's very different, obviously, to the Loyalist one, which I'm just going to get up in front of me to remind myself.
The Loyalist one looked like the old Legion police from Rogue Trader.
Yes, I've got it. Yeah, I've got it there in front of me now. This one very much feels like a Chaos Space Marine. And I know that sounds like an odd thing to say, given that it's Horus Heresy, but like a lot of the Traitor Legion minis just feel like edgy Space Marines. This feels like a Chaos Space Marine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I mean, I tell you what, if you gave that a red colour scheme, you got a very good, like, Word Bearer's character model right there.
Oh.
With that helmet.
Yeah, the helmet is what I think makes it really chaosy. Plus the chains. You don't see many like chains and skulls like that on Heresy Marines.
Yeah, I agree. I really like those details with the helmet, with the horns, and the chains, I agree. Just gives it much more of a chaos vibe.
And even with the unhelmeted version, with like the big scar over his face, looks cool. I like the whip as well, that's also pretty cool.
Is that the first Space Marine not named Lucius to wield a whip?
I don't think so. I think there was at least one other, but I can't remember for the life of me. I think there was one, because I vaguely recall one.
Because I know like the Defiler has and the Hellbrutes have their power lashes. I know they do, but I don't remember
Power
seeing...
Scourge, yeah.
But I don't ever remember seeing one on a Space Marine. I'm willing to be wrong, but I'm racking my brain because I've played Chaos Marines and I can't think of a mini with one.
Either way, it still looks cool.
Definitely. Definitely a cool mini.
And you know what else is really cool? Because you just reminded me with that previous talk with the Space Hulk Gene Steel with the Dead Terminator, and it's holding the Dead Terminator's head. If you want to give your models like the heads of your foes, you can buy that as well.
Yeah, so this is Battlefield Trophies, 288 skulls, bits, bodies, and the like,
Corpses.
ready to adorn your bases.
I love little things like this.
I like this
But
too.
I remember when the Skulls pack came out years ago. Oh, good times.
I was so excited to see this come out. I have a little, we'll call him a familiar, a little Servo Skull familiar, and there's one of them that looks really similar to how my familiar is designed, and I was so happy. I'm like, do I buy the whole thing just to for one Servo Skull?
The answer is yes.
Yeah, we might.
But I think this is really good, obviously, you know, if you've got a particular nemesis at your wargaming club who you just finally get to beat. So, for example, for me, looking through that, there's some...
I mean, you got Human, you got Space Marines, you got Imperial Guard, Chaos, Vespid, Gene Stealers, a Custodian,
Arbites.
Eldari, yep, Sororitas, even Ogren Skulls.
Yeah, Chaos Terminators, Thousand Suns, as said, plenty of Tyranids and different Tau
Beastmen.
variants. Yeah, there's genuinely...
Including a Zangor.
Yes. So yeah, there's...
Birdhead one.
Yeah, and of course Orcs. And Gretchen. So it really means that you can do some great narrative stuff, which I think is really good, particularly if you're doing, the classic example is like a narrative campaign, where if you get a particularly special kill on a Crusade game, you can just festoon their base with a skull of, hey, this guy killed a bunch of these, and therefore is a badass in this particular region.
Oh, I like that.
I just noticed one of the skulls. One of the skulls above the Terminator Sergeant helmet, you know, the red one, the skull with the 3 eye sockets, that's a Navigator.
Oh, it is.
Oh, I assume that was just a skull with a bullet through it, but no, you're right.
That's
It's
totally a Navigator.
That's a nice little touch.
I didn't even notice
I'm
that.
impressed.
Yeah, what's the little bird one down the bottom?
Zangor.
Oh, that's the Zangor. Sorry, I was looking at the horned ones. Sorry.
No. That's Zangor. There's one with a bullet hole in its forehead above the Beastman one on the bottom left, next to the
And
tower
that's all
one.
shattered,
Yeah,
yeah.
that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's all shattered.
yeah. But the one above the Terminator, that's definitely a Navigator.
Yeah, loads of really, really good stuff. And I think genuinely, as much as I don't think everyone's going to get them, those who do will find something really cool to do with it. Like, I can imagine if you've got like a a Chaos Lord is just the one that's going to come to mind, who literally every time you win a game, you just add to his back banner with a trophy of the army you just beat, and you just end up with this massive, or Orc War Boss the same, have a back banner just bedecked in the dead skulls of all the different armies he's crumped.
I love that.
Or just like a World Eater Warlord, just add skulls to the base, he gets progressively taller and taller and taller.
That would be a modelling
gosh.
nightmare, but it would be fun. Make your do that on Khan the Betrayer. Still, really cool stuff.
Absolutely. And going to Necromunda briefly, we've got the Imperium's own version of Almvar, complete with bodyguards. If you look at the picture, you know what I mean.
Yeah, so this is
the person in the chair with the big bodyguards with the massive axes.
Yeah, so this is the Co-Iron Ministorum delegation.
Yes.
And you get 2 Frateris bodyguard. Let's just completely break the rules of the Adeptus Ministorum having men under arms.
Well, they're Frateris Militia, not Frateris Templar.
Oh, Frateris bodyguard. Okay, fine. And then a Prima Materis, who is a priestess. But in all ways, actually, they're nowhere as holy and better than thou as they think. They are assassins, sabotage, operatives, wearing the will of the most holy emperor as a facade, direct quote.
I feel this is commentary somehow.
It is probably commentary.
Maybe.
We won't go there, though.
Also, she has a bolter. Even though she looks like she's asleep, unlike Almvar, she actually has a gun.
You gotta stay strapped.
And also, can we just appreciate the fact that one of the servos, one of the little cherubs, has a full-blown boombox?
He does.
Like, he's rocking the boombox. It's like, yeah, blasting out those Ministorum hymns.
Yeah, definitely. And can we also appreciate the chain blades of the Frateris bodyguard? Like, there's proper chain axes around the outside, but then with this curved imperial eagle down the back, which makes them way less sturdy, but also look fucking cool.
I love that. I'm a sucker for feathers. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, there are some,
and they're on fire as well.
Absolutely.
Because with the Imperial Church, you have to go in full blown overkill on everything.
It's all in or nothing.
As it should be.
Also, I love the fact that they're carrying around a bloody inquisitorial. Well, it's not quite. It is the Ministorum. I know it's the Ministorum, but to the idiotic or the unaware or the underhivers who don't know any better, you could probably sneak this off as a sigil of the Inquisition to the idiotic. I know they wouldn't, but you probably could. There's there's 1 or 2 things I want to pick up before we move on. Obviously, I know it happened a while ago now, but I just want to quickly have a quick bit of opinions on the Tau detachment from Grotmus, because it came out on the bloody 21st of December, so I didn't get to talk about it. Because they did something that's actually really cool. They did the auxiliary cadre, where you get to use loads of Crute and Vespid.
Oh.
So what they've done is they gave all Crute and Vespid units the ability to improve the AP of Tau units within 9 inches. So if you get up close to an enemy unit with your Crute and Vespid, then when the Tau attack them, they've got better AP, which is basically Montcar at certain points. It's kind of like Montcar.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? No, Montcar is lethal hits and assault. Sorry, I'm talking rubbish. It's more like the... There is an ability that does that. I think it might be in Retaliation Cadre, but I'm willing to be wrong. But then all the Tau...
Not Calion, is it?
No, it's not Calion. It's definitely not Calion.
Okay.
And then all the Tau units give the Crute and Vespid basically lone operative, where they can't be targeted unless they're within 18 inches, if they're within 6 inches of a Tau unit. So the Crute and Vespid give the Tau better shooting, and in order to keep them alive to do that, the Tau give them lone operative. Which is kind of just a cool combo that goes together, and you can give one of your Crute Shapers for the greater good, so they can actually do the whole faction ability of targeting, which is fun, or you can give a Crute Shaper the ability to make 3 Crute units deep strike, which is hilarious. And things like that. It's a really cool thing to put in. It's probably not that good, because I'm in a Tau Facebook group, and most of them are Farsight Retaliation Cadre kind of people. But a lot of them have been running it and saying, you know what? It's actually not that bad. It's actually quite good. If you play it right, you've got to be very careful and very tactical, but it's actually quite good. But yes, I'll say no more because I haven't actually had a chance to play a game with it. So I will do that at some point when my Vesper are done, and I will get back to you.
Fair enough. Not too much else in the news other than they're doing Warhammer Heroes again. So for nominations,
yeah,
game nominations and all that.
There's a cool Path to Glory thing going on in AOS where they're actually releasing a narrative general's handbook, which gives you proper progression trees for your heroes and units, which is kind of cool. And they're just sort of all the different stuff they're doing on Warhammer TV, sort of breaking down the new shows if you want to get involved with that. Like Arena, what's this? A Demolition Derby. Oh, God. Okay, cool. So yeah, plenty of stuff going on outside as well.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because Auric War Clans is what's coming out at the moment. And then they did an article, I actually read the article on New Year's Eve called Las Cannon, and how the actual las gun works. And I thought, oh, I did a video on this. This will be interesting. No, it's basically just a plug for the Battle Sector DLC of the Astra Militarum. And just talking about, what are las guns and trying to dispel the myth that they're just flashlights. But
I got tricked by the article title too. I was really interested. I clicked on it and I was like, oh, this is going to be good. And it felt like I just got handed a sales brochure as if I was some governor militant. Like, why should I have las cannons? And I was like, I want to know some engineering behind this. This sounds like fun. Nope.
Well, if you want to do that, then why don't you head on over to my channel, because I did a physics behind how the las gun works in theory, and how powerful a las gun shot actually is, because it can cauterize flesh and things like that. So I genuinely tried to do some science behind a las gun at one point. So yeah,
great.
That exists.
That's great, because that article tickled that itch for me, but now I need a video to follow that up with, so I will watch that.
Yeah, good luck finding it. Right. Yeah, there's nothing really here that's worth discussing. There's a couple of regiments of renown, but who cares? So, yeah. Has anyone set themselves a New Year challenge, speaking of the fact that it's 2025 now? Because they've put out this, check sheet you can do as a hobbyist that you can hand in at your Warhammer store, the hashtag Warhammer Challenge.
No. I didn't hear about that.
But, yeah, I'll show you. So you can take it into your local hobby store, and if you can fill a line, then you get a special in-store reward, apparently. Oh. So, for example, you could do paint a Centerpiece Mini for 40k, read or listen to a Black Library book, paint a Skirmish Game Mini, paint an AOS Centerpiece Mini, and then a free one. Or you could do paint characters, share your work on social media, lol, no. Or whatever. There's different things you can do to try and clear a line, apparently.
Question: how do Games Workshop verify this? Because what's to stop you from just going in every day? Is like, I've done this. Yeah, I've done this. Yeah, I've done this. Where's my stuff? Where's my free stuff?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how are they gonna follow up on that?
Yeah,
I genuinely don't know, nor do I predict.
The honor system, is it?
I get the feeling there will be a little bit of the honor system, but some of them all about sharing it on social media. So, in order to win vouchers and things like that, because quote, 6 hobbyists will win £100 or equivalent of virtual gift vouchers in January, February or March, but you have to share your stuff on socials in order to qualify for that. So I'm guessing that's how they overcome the honor system a tinsy bit.
Right. Makes sense, yeah.
But I mean, that's, if you do that, then you've already got 2 off the board, immediately. If you did do that, you'd have 2 off the board before you start.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, one of them is play a game with friends or family. It's get your family into it. Yeah, do that.
Here, Mom, stand next to me, and I'm going to take a picture of you.
I'm just going to put the cat on, the table next to he's watching. There you go. I'm playing against the cat. There you go.
Yeah. God. Anyway, it's a thing. I admit I haven't got any particularly hobby resolution. I think my main hobby resolution this year is don't start a new army. I know that sounds really dumb, but like I've gotten into one army or another almost every year, like for a while, with Daughters of Cain, Eidolon Deepkin, Lumineth, Tau, Chaos Marines, Inquisition this year, just gone. Like I almost every year end up picking up a project and starting something new, and then either never finishing it or running out of time or then just giving up and selling it. So I think the main thing this year is finish what I've got and don't start anything new. Like finish your Inquisition, finish my Tau bits, and then maybe look at expanding what you've already got. Like I do want to get a Cthulhu for my Daughters of Cain, to be fair. But don't start a new project. And to be fair, I don't think there's going to be anything I really want to do. Like Krieg, Eldar, Emperor's Children. Gloomspite looks cool, but I don't play AOS anymore, so I'm not fussed for not doing that. I can live with that.
I mean, you could always make a Rebel Grot army.
I mean, I do have an Orc army, so that technically would be fine.
There you go then.
And
that's your next hobby challenge.
You got to find all the loopholes.
Gloomspite to convert for
you. No, Wib will kill me for copyright infringement.
There's just two rival Grot gangs, two red gobbos. Or you have the green gobbo.
Nah, I'll be done on copyright infringement. I'm not doing that.
Actually, if you do the green gobbo, you probably will get sued by Marvel. Yeah, actually. Spider-Man? No? Green Goblin?
Yes, I got the joke. It just wasn't funny.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, excuse me, princess.
I'm sorry. I laughed, but I don't think Discord picked it up. But I know my my recording system did, so Rem, you can have a laugh there.
Yay.
Right. Where to now? Because I blitzed a book, but I don't know if there's anything else anyone has on their minds.
Well, I've blitzed a book too, so...
Well, yeah, you
and
always do.
And it's actually thematically appropriate for this episode, because this episode we talked about Fulgrim, and the book I read was about Eidolon.
So you read the Eidolon novel. I didn't know if you finished it.
I did read the Eidolon novel. No, I finished it.
Yeah, because we spoke the other day, and you said it was dragging a bit, so I didn't know if you have it ready in time.
I said it was spinning its wheels a little bit in the beginning, but yeah, overall, well, I'll share my thoughts when we get to that. So, yes.
Yeah, because I finished the Kotiaz novel. I pretty much read the whole thing in about 3 days over Christmas, so...
Fair. What about you, Aurelia?
I recently finished Twice Dead King Ruin, the first one, and I liked it so much I started the second one right away. So I'm in the middle of it right now, about halfway through. I've been listening to it.
That's a good book as well.
I honestly, after reading the first one, I like Necrons so much more. Like, I didn't hate them before. I was just pretty...
Just indifferent.
Yeah, indifferent, ambivalent. But I really liked that book. So I'm reading the second one now, and I'm really enjoying it. And I liked Infinite and the Divine when I read it, but I have a whole different level of respect for Necrons. I like them a lot. Don't know if I like them so much that I'll get an army to paint of them, but I like them.
Yeah, I think everyone has that book that makes them like a particular faction. Like, for me, it is Infinite and the Divine for Necrons, but I get what you mean sometimes. And Twice Dead King is a very, very good series, so I can completely understand why you've done that.
So I also vaguely remember, Aurelia, you also said for Halloween you read Bookkeeper's Skull.
I did, yes.
With the clown servitor.
Yes, I read that with my channel, and I really enjoyed that. I know we talked about it on Discord, but I really liked all the red herrings that were in the story, where you're trying to figure out... Well, basically, and obviously red herring, where the author misleads you as to what the real culprit is and who the real culprit is. And what was it? It was like partway through, I started to pick up. I'm like, oh, I think I know where this is going. And I really, really liked that book. So thank you for the recommendation. I know you have other ones that you recommended me that are a little more spooky. I think I'm going to save them for next year because I really enjoyed it. But I also... Now, so I'm a bit of a book girly, so for people I don't really know, I kind of take book recommendations from them, like, with a grain of salt. But, like, after that book, I'm like, all right, I'll read anything that Rem recommends to me.
Hey.
Well, Rem's a walking encyclopedia. If he doesn't think a book's good, then it's not worth reading.
That's fair. And I know Rem is very knowledgeable. I'm like, I don't know, because it's a matter of, like, taste and preferences as well. So, but nope, you have the Aurelia seal of approval, as if you ever needed it, but I enjoyed that book and I will read.
I'll take that compliment.
I will read any other books you recommend me.
Good to know. I'll send you a list later.
Thank you. I need to catch up. How many books? I'm so curious. How many books have each of you read? Like, you can ballpark it.
It must be over 100 now.
Man, that's
Yeah, at least.
Oh. I can't wait to get there.
I've read, I mean, Rem, you pretty much read the entire Horus Heresy, and that's 60 books in and of itself, if you count the Siege. So.
Well, if you count the Siege, it's more like 75.
Exactly. I've read a load of different fiction, because I read across a bit more. Rem reads really like everything in 40k that comes out that's even vaguely worth reading, whereas I sort of jump around a lot more and read AOS and Warhammer Crime and all these other things. So I don't think I've read. I probably have hit 100, because I've been reading I've always been an avid reader even as a kid. So I probably have hit 100 books. Like, how many books are in my actual phone's iBooks bloody library? Because that will give me a rough ballpark of how many I've read the past few years, at least.
Yeah, forgive that side note, because I just wanted to ask, I get asked, like, how many books have I read? So I've been in the habit of, like, keeping track of every book I've read, and I figured both of you read a lot. I was just curious, because I've read about, I think, I just hit 40, like, the other day. So I want to keep reading, and I was just curious how many you guys had.
Yeah. So my
read.
phone, so not counting paper, there's 27 ebooks in my phone finished. And that's just in my phone. Plus there must be at least 10 or 15 downstairs on my bookshelf, and I've read every single one of them at least once. And then in my shed, where all my hobby stuff is, there's another must be 20 that I've read off the top of my head. And then at work, I think there's another 3 or 4. So that's 50 or more just from what's lying around the house and in my phone, to say nothing of the ones that I used to borrow from the library or whatever. So I maybe haven't got 100, but I'm definitely close. I
gotta step up my game. I want to be in the big leagues.
To be fair, I've been doing YouTube for, well, I'm coming up on my 11th anniversary since I started my channel.
Congrats.
So, yeah, I think that's not next week. I think it's the week after is 11 years since I started my channel. But I really got into the lore side of things, sort of like 2016. So nearly 10 years I've been doing lore. And yeah, I didn't always read books for it. I used the wikis and other sources, but still, it's a heck of a lot of literature. And that's just for me. And Rem, you've been doing it longer than I have, and you actually read everything, whereas I just pick off wikis.
Actually, I've only been doing this for coming up to 9 years now.
Wait,
I've
what?
actually been doing it less than you.
Your channel's from 2015?
The account is actually older, but I only started doing videos about 9 years or so ago. Because, like, my 1 year anniversary video is, like, 8 years old, so...
Oh.
Fair enough,
oh,
yeah,
wow.
because I did mine when I was still I was in year 12 at 6th form, and then I went to uni in 2015, so, yeah, it must have been, it was 2014 that I made my first video, so, yeah, bloody hell.
Actually, let me just double check when I actually, my first video was, it'll be 10 years this year.
Wow.
10 years in August.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, mine was, mine's 10 years gone. It'll be 11 years next Monday.
Well, aren't we a pair of old farts?
All right. Now I have some goals. Gotta get to the point where I can say I've had a channel for 10 plus years.
You'll get there.
You'll get there.
Just keep at it.
I will. I love Warhammer way too much to quit. I have such a blast reading it.
Good. So, Neve, what was the book you were reading through?
Daemonhammer.
Oh, yes, I forgot, yes. So how was the book?
It's probably too recent to not need spoilers, so...
Yeah, I'll put a spoiler warning. So if you want to avoid spoilers, skip to the timestamp in the video description below. So, entering the spoiler room in 3, 2, 1.
Right. This book is good.
That's good.
And it's good in a number of ways. Because it's not a book that spins its wheels. It gets to the point and it keeps going and it doesn't stop. And to its credit, as much as it pings around several POVs, well, I say several, about 3. No, 4, probably 4. But it never strays from the point. It is laser focused on one thing and how we get from point A to point B. And everyone agrees on where point B is, which, as you'll know from mine and Remleiz's reading of Dawn of Fire Book 1, is something that we really appreciate. Yeah, exactly. Knowing what the end goal is and that everything leads to it, and everyone is still aware that that's where we're going, is really important. And this book does that. And the thing that I really appreciate is that it works for all different readers. Because if you've never read Inquisition before, you'll understand how the Inquisition works pretty quickly. If you have no idea who Kotiaz is, you'll work out who Kotiaz is pretty quickly. And if you know all of those things, there's still something new for you to discover and something interesting at play.
Right.
So I think that's something I really appreciate, is because I can see how the author, which I think is Darius Hinks, 2 seconds. Darius Hinks does enough to exposit what and who Kotiaz and the Inquisition are, without explicitly making it an exposition dump and just a baby's first introduction to Kotiaz. Because what he does is basically he throws in these flashback chapters, like mini ones, like snippets of Kotiaz's life. So the moment he was recruited by Inquisitor Lord Loredian, or Loredian, whatever, the first time he really sees how nasty the Inquisition can be, and the moment he denounces Loredian and overthrows him and becomes the High Protector of Formosa because he accuses his mentor of heresy, correctly. Mm-hmm. So you get to see these moments, and they never forget where Kotiaz came from, but those moments do a really good job of defining why Kotiaz is the way he is, as well as setting a few points up along the way. So it's really good at laying the groundwork, but then doesn't forget the fact that it's actually talking about Kotiaz hunting for something called soul glass. Now, I had to ask Rem on the last episode if he knew what soul glass was, and you didn't know, did you? Because I think this is a new invention here. And that's on purpose. So soul glass is theorized to be a substance that, quite literally, you can store a soul in, allowing you to transfer it to a new host. Mm-hmm. Now, that sounds ridiculous, and it is. But that's what is going on this planet called Novalis. Kotiaz gets word from an agent that a Mechanicus Techmagos of extreme high importance within the Formosa sector has gone to Novalis, which is a crystal mining world that you don't go to if you value your life. And the only reason that makes sense is that she's hunting for soul glass.
Right.
And Kotiaz, in the first chapter of the book, pretty much dies during a rejuvenate treatment, because it's all not quite heretic stuff, but it's really shady stuff, and it borderline kills him. So what his main agent, his interrogator, his current interrogator at the time, believes is that Kotiaz is hunting soul glass so that he can live forever, because only he can understand the true scale of what's going on in the Formosa sector and actually protect it properly. He's never really allowed anyone to become a true apprentice to take his place, and he's always, as far as he's concerned, set them up to fail. Not Kotiaz's opinion, but the interrogators. So he's like, oh, Kotiaz wants the soul glass so he can live forever. Now, they get to Novalis, and they stumble across someone who really should not be there. Her name is Sato, S-A-T. I'm going to call Sato rather than Sato, but whichever you prefer. Sato is a void-born, basically rogue psyker of sorts, who Kotiaz found in a pile of corpses on a Chaos Pillage ship. and she survived through force of will alone. And he took her on as an agent and an interrogator.
Right.
And then he let her go. Or more accurately, she rebelled, fell out with him, but he let her live, which is not something Kotias normally does if someone fails him.
No.
And she is on Novalis and is now an inquisitor.
Ooh.
Oh, I like that.
A radical inquisitor using definitely Xenos weaponry. Like, I always think of them like glaives, but with attached to scorpion-like chains from Mortal Kombat. They're almost like not quite kunai with chain type thing, but they do seem to be chain-wrapped weapons that she can launch that are also seem to be like bladed more than
Kusarigama?
I'm not a good enough weapons expert, and I slightly forget the details. They sounded like scythes on chains, but I'm willing to be wrong.
I'm pretty sure it's Kusarigama.
Okay, fair enough. And she's got them and a beast man of some kind as her entourage. And she's under the protection of a very high-ranking Inquisitor Lord. So Kotias, much as he probably wants to, can't touch her. Yeah, that's what I had in my head. And Kotias's agent is dead.
Oh.
And no one knew he was there. Like, only Kotias knew he was there.
Oh.
And he's turned up dead.
Whoops.
Now, if you're Kotias, logical assumption, Sato's killed him for information about the soul glass.
That would be logical.
And
Yeah, I would assume that.
Yeah, and Sato is also in the possession of something which I don't know if has ever come up before. It's called a Quietus tablet. Have you heard of one?
No.
Okay, new thing for this. A Quietus tablet is a map drawn by murder.
What, the planet?
No, like literally.
Like the blood, or?
Yeah, so when you commit a murder, the next phase of the map reveals itself on the tablet. Now, this map is half drawn and is believed to be a map to the soul glass. And Kotias is like, you should not have this because everyone who has ever used one is corrupted. And so I was like, I've not used it. This is what your agent had on him when I found his body. Kind of thing.
Dun dun dun.
Now, side jump for a moment to one of the mine workers. He's called Elias. And we will be walking with Elias quite a lot, don't worry.
Heyo.
Thank you. I thought you'd appreciate that joke. So Elias is a mine worker who has a voice in his head, of sorts, who then leads a sort of revolution in his mine and overthrows the overseers and yada, yada, yada. And he miraculously now seems to know, thanks to the voice in his head that he can't tell anybody about, where a giant store of Munitorum weapons are that shouldn't be there, and also seems to be immune to all the crystal corruption that kills you.
Okay, yeah.
Now, my first thought is, this is a gene stealer cult. But then I remembered which Inquisition I was reading about, and you can see where this goes pretty quickly, I suspect.
Hey,
Because-
surprise, it's chaos.
Can you predict which chaos?
I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and say Zinch.
I was gonna say
Incorrect,
that
because
too.
because this guy is not ill anymore.
Ah,
Nurgle's at play. Now, that's not revealed explicitly until very near the end, but for those paying attention, you can work it out. At first, I went Gene Stealer cult because it sounds like a workers' revolution. This sounds very Gene Stealery. But
Yeah.
then I remembered I was reading an Order Malleus book and my brain started to think again. Anyway, we'll come back to Elias later. Kotias and Co, with Sato in tow, because Kotias won't let it go anywhere, and they have to sort of agree to work together because they both need to get this sorted, and they can't let the Mechanicus Magos get the soul glass because no. They have to work together now and find it. And as they're going along, they get attacked by some of these rebel workers. Not Elias's mine, these are other ones. It seems like this is a big major issue planet-wide, including the fact that the governor's palace ends up being overrun about halfway through the book.
Oh.
And one thing about Novalis that you should probably be aware of is that the weather is awful, and it rains a lot. But
It's Newcastle.
But there's a saying that Elias has, Novalis will rise. Now, again, at this point, you're thinking, this is a revolution. Yeah, that's not quite what's going on. Yeah, that's not what's going on. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. Basically, the book sort of sort of second act ends on the discovery of the fact this is Nurgle at play, because there are 3 titanic cyclones that should not be lasting this long. They should normally go away quite quickly, according to Novalis' weather, that have converged into basically the sigil of Nurgle. And by Novalis will rise, we mean the water of Novalis will rise and rise.
It's Roticus,
and
Oh, okay.
No, it's actually not if it is Roticus, he's never named. And I think they would probably name drop Roticus.
Because I'm pretty sure he's like associated with like water and rain and stuff, so...
He is, he's the Rainfather.
Yeah.
But is it Rainfather or Rain something else? He's not the Rainmaker, that's Kashida Ricarda. But anyway, moving on.
Actually, I've got this mental image of just Roticus doing the like Rainmaker pose.
That would be funny. But anyway, so Kotiaz and Co end up, though, there are 3 Quietus tablets, because 3 Nurgle. Elias has 1, Sato has 1, and the Genitor of the Mechanicus has 1. He's the one that killed the agent of Kotiaz.
Oh.
I think. And he ends up being discovered, commits another murder, mutates horrifically, and his whole thing is get the tablet to the Magos, because then she'll get the glass. Obviously, we know anyone who uses a tablet is damned, so no. The Mechanicus basically end up all dying, because it turns out the Mechanicus Magos basically has lung cancer, like horrendous lung cancer, and that's why she wants the soul glass, so that she can get out of her. No matter how many augmentations she has, she's going to die. She cannot stop it. And she does end up dying to the Genitor and other things. But then one of the interrogator I mentioned 20 paragraphs ago, he gets attacked by, I think it's plague bearers, while scouting, and is infected. And he ends up talking to Elias in his head. And Elias basically, Elias, or the voice in Elias's head masquerading as Elias, basically says, he just rattles off all the ways the Emperor fucked the worlds and the Imperium and the galaxy over as a way to corrupt them. Like, Kotiaz wants this to continue. Kotiaz will screw you over. You better get him first, kind of thing. So the final battle takes place in a... it is sort of a temple, but it's more like a garden, because Nurgle.
Of course.
The Inquisition take heavy losses, as you would expect, but they're quite an elite team, Scions and Psychers and things like that. But the whole planet's falling apart. The land masses of the planet, as the water rises, are falling apart. And Kotiaz's main Psyker, who's very much grabbing prayer beads, basically has to use her psychic powers to hold this entire landmass together. It's not a big landmass, don't worry. It's like a pillar of rock, maybe the size of a small village in diameter. I'm just gonna put a number on it. It's not listed to be like a continental landmass, but she has to hold it together in that localized area to stop the whole thing falling apart under their feet.
Yeah.
Kotiaz, who very much looks like the Emperor with his shiny golden armor and gleaming weapons, that's his interrogator's opinion, reaches Elias, mega smash, and Elias doesn't die.
Oh no.
He smacks him so hard the demon gets smacked out of him.
That's a very hard slap.
And then they have to fight a great unclean one.
Who may or may not be Roticus.
Which I do not believe to be Roticus, because they don't talk about having a hood or a branch staff or anything like that. It's not Roticus, but you can see why you might think that. At this point, the interrogator flips and turns on him, and then fails and dies. And Elias somehow, by lying crippled in a corner, survives as the Great Unclean One, and the Nurgle armies are eventually driven back and defeated. I'll spare you the long details of the battle because I don't remember them all. But thanks to the not quite dead Elias, they get the glass. And Kotiaz gets the glass. They almost kill the Psyker holding the landmass together long enough for him to do it, but they get it, him and Sato. And now you're thinking, well, I was thinking, okay, Kotiaz can put this to use now. Nope.
Let me guess, he
smashes it.
Yeah, yeah, there it is.
But why? And because Sato's the same. She's like, what the have you just done? Why did you do that? And Kotiaz
because if I didn't do that, I would have to write into the codex.
Well, that for one. And two, it's because Soul Glass is a myth. And and I need to keep it that way, because if it were confirmed to be real, resurrectionist cults who want to get hold of it to resurrect the Emperor would rise up en masse, and we'd have a major uprising across the Formosa sector on our hands. So he hunts Soul Glass down, not for his own use, but to keep anyone else from getting it so he can smash it and prevent the resurrectionist rebellions.
How altruistic.
Indeed. And then the book ends with his new interrogator watching him undergo the rejuvenate treatment. It doesn't kill him. And he actually lets Sato go again, even though he probably shouldn't. Also, the demon may or may not have been a manifestation of his mentor, Loredian, because Loredian's voice talks in his head during parts of this final battle. That's not confirmed nor denied. It might just be it putting a voice on it. Might actually be Demon Loredian. We're not clear on this. But yeah, it's a really good dive into who Kotiaz is and what he's about, as well as a good introduction to the Ordo Malleus and the Inquisition if you've never seen it before. It's really good. It doesn't spin its wheels, it gets to where it's going, and it did not take me long to read it all. Right, I'm going to go and end the spoilers, and I'm going to get the child for some milk, so excuse me.
No problem. I'll probably start talking about the Eidolon novel then, in which case.
Oh, yes, please.
Should I put up a spoiler warning? It did come out in October. Does it deserve a spoiler warning if it's from then?
Maybe. Maybe I...
Well, I don't know, spoiler timestamp, same rules as before. So, entering the spoiler room in 3, 2, 1. Oh my god, I can't believe Rotigus is Kazuchika Okada. Anyway. We open up on Eidolon's flagship, and they're travelling through the warp, trying to get to Terra for the Siege of Terra. And as they're travelling through the warp, the ship becomes becalmed. Like, it just suddenly just drops, stops moving, becomes becalmed. Eidolon's going, what the hell's going on? We become becalmed. What's the Navigator doing? He's just ripped out his eyes. Okay, he just needs that third one to see. No, he's ripped that one out too. Oh. Find us a way out of the warp, will you then? Because I want to get to Terra. Also, we're getting reports of demons in the lower decks. Oh, for fuck's sake. What? How are we getting demons? Well, the Gellerfield flicked off for about 5 minutes. Oh, for God's sake. Right, okay, we'll get a little hunting party together to go and find the demons just to kill them, because I ain't dealing with this shit on my ship, thank you very much. So he gets this little party together, which is like him, a guy named Vociferon, Malacris, and a couple of other guys. Malacris is basically an Emperor's Children if he was a Night Lord, probably sadistic,
no.
lightning claws, likes to, strip the flesh off people, that kind of guy. Whereas Vociferon, by contrast, is pretty much uncorrupted, but compared to the rest of the standards of the Legion at the time, he's still very much pre-Istvan Emperor's Children, in a sense, or pre-Laren Emperor's Children, very disciplined, swordsman type, no corruption on his armor, just still the very perfection of what an Emperor's Children should be at this point, or before this point, rather.
Okay.
So they go into the lower decks to hunt the demons, and they find some demonettes, and then they kill them, or banish them, rather. And then they encounter a being made from warp flame who has, the vague shape of a space marine. And Eidolon thinks, oh, great, we have another one of these bastards giving themselves up to demonhood. Oh, God, you weak-willed little fool. And this flame person, he calls himself the Shattered King. And I just want to say, what is it with demons and calling themselves, kings? You got the Shattered King, the Sapphire King, the Ruined King, the Sacrificed King, all this stuff. It's all about kings with demons, isn't it?
They want to feel important in some way.
They do.
All
but
kings and no queens as well.
Exactly.
Dang it.
And the Shattered King talks to Eidolon and say, hello, I'm the Shattered King. I'm everything that you should be and could be. All you got to do is, surrender yourself to me and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Eidolon just shoots him because, no, I'm not doing this shit, piss off.
I love that.
And the Shattered King's like, well, that was very rude. Fuck you too. They get into a fight. Eidolon charges at him with his hammer. Shattered King blocks the hammer with one finger and then flicks him, and he goes flying across the room. Proper anime style. It's like that one scene from Bleach, what's his name, hacks down with a sword, gets blocked with one finger, he taps a sword, and he explodes into chips, essentially. If you know the scene, you know. But they end up getting into a fight again, and the Shattered King ends up enveloping Eidolon, in his whole shadowy black flame and all that, and Eidolon is in this just black room of nothingness. The Shattered King's taunting him, and Eidolon's like, no, I'm not dealing with this shit. And he ends up smacking the Shadow King so hard in the face with his hammer that he ends up shattering reality and just walks out back onto the deck. And it was like, oh, where'd you come from? It's like, I deal with this twat, didn't I?
So this demon can block his hammer with one finger, but as soon as he gets hit in the face, reality shatters. Yeah, there's a bit of a power creep issue there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And yeah, but the Shadow King just like dissolves into flame, but like parts of it still stick to the hammer. And it's like, ew, get rid of that shit. Yeah. Gross. Icky. Sticky. Right. Oh, by the way, the warp engines are back online now. We can get moving through the warp again. Hooray! Let's go towards Terra. And we cut to a scene with Eidolon in his chambers. He's looking at his reflection in the mirror.
Is the reflection cracked?
No, it's not cracked.
Shattered.
But it's not the same reflection. It doesn't have the same expression. The Shadow King bursts out of the mirror to try and strangle himself. Like, surrender yourself to me. And Eidolon's like, get back in that mirror. Fuck off. Just piss off. Luke just shoves him back in the mirror. I was like, no, stop that now. Piss off.
How many times do we have to tell you this lesson, old man?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh.
And he gets a call from the bridge saying, like, sir, even though we just come out of the warp and we found a planet. Right? What's so important about that? Well, you might want to take a look at it, sir.
Is it Kamos?
Okay.
Well, no, Kamos is dead. Kamos got blown up.
No, it's not Kemos, no. It goes onto the bridge and looks onto the holoviewer, and it's a world called Tantracala. Now, this world is important for two reasons, because one, it was brought into compliance by the Emperor's children during the Great Crusade.
Of course.
By Eidolon.
Of course.
And two, it's the world where Eidolon was promoted to Lord Commander Primus.
So this world is... So the warp's brought him here for a reason.
Yes. And he starts laughing. He's like, oh, the fucking tricks of the warp brought me here of all places, for God's sake. And he gets a call from the helmsman saying, like, we've detected 3 ships in orbit. What kind of ships? Sons of Horus.
Not that.
And I was like, no, because this is pre-Siege of Terror.
Oh, sorry, I missed the start of this because, I had to get this one out of the recharging pod.
No, it's fine. And I was like, what the bloody hell are the Sons of Horus doing here? I thought they'd be on Terra by now. Oh, well, hell with them. Right, who's in charge here? I am Praetor Gerog. And this point made me realise, damn, I wish these guys were world eaters, because then I can call these guys Gerog's cornflakes.
Oh my gosh.
That is an awful joke. Also, it would be more ironic if they were world eaters, considering what then went on to happen at Scalathrax.
Indeed. And Eidolon's like, what the hell are you guys doing here? And Gerog's like, we got caught in a warp storm, we got blown out of the warp, and we had to stop here to make repairs.
Fair enough.
It's like, okay, seems reasonable enough. So, why haven't you attacked that planet yet? What do you mean, why haven't we attacked the planet yet? We've literally just spent all this time fixing our ships. We haven't been thinking about attacking anything yet, for God's sake. I was like, well, since we're both here, do you want to go on it together? What, to conquer it? It's like, no, not conquer it, no. All the conquering can wait until after Horus is crowned emperor. No. We need materiel, for the war effort, supplies, slaves, that kind of thing. It'd be good for a laugh, wouldn't it? Yeah, come on, let's do it. So Gerog and his entourage board Eidolon's ship, and they discuss like a war plan. They discuss the significance of the world and how all of its cities, instead of rising upwards like a hive city, they burrow inward into the planet. So like, there's a whole bunch of underground hive cities, essentially.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of like different sally ports and like, defense walls. Like they are very, very good defensive. It's a very good defensive system. And they launch their attack upon the world. And as they do, Eidolon enters like the town square of the capital. And he sees in the town square a bunch of statues that are erected in honor of the Imperial conquest, the Imperial compliance.
And there'll be one of him, I'm guessing.
The main one is a statue of Fulgrim.
Shock.
Obviously. And yes, there is a statue of Eidolon as well. And Eidolon just looks at it and goes, smash. Just smashes it with his hammer. Because I'm not that pretty anymore, fuck you. Because this is what Fulgrim did to me. He cut off my head, and now I'm ugly. Because that's what happened, remember, with Eidolon.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes his hammer, and he looks at Fulgrim's statue and goes, I'll deal with you later. still getting very pissed off and very angry at, just all these memories coming back unbidden of Fulgrim just cutting his head off. It's like, oh, oh, no.
But to be fair, I'm in his position, I would probably feel the same way.
Indeed. But yeah, as the attack's going on, Vociferon is Kardra's just killing all the soldiers. Malachris is going, full-blown butcher bay on everything, just butchering everything, nailing people onto crosses and shards of glass, and it's going, yeah, I'm having a wonderful time here. God, I wish I was part of the 8th Legion.
There's an irony in there.
Yeah. I was saying earlier that Malachris is basically what if an Emperor's Children was a Night Lord.
Well, I suppose heathenism and sadism is very Slaneshi, so it makes sense.
Indeed. And Eidolon ends up making it to this command center where the main defense was being orchestrated, and finds that Gerog and his men had already gotten there first. I was like, see, I told you this would be great for a laugh, wouldn't it? It's like, yes, I suppose you preening peacocks are still useful in some way. It's like,
Cold.
Oh, don't be so mean. We're all here together. We're all cousins, brothers. It don't matter. And as they're all talking, Gerog gets a communication, and he turns to look at Eidolon. All the Sons of Horus raise their guns at Eidolon, and Gerog's like, you treacherous bastard. And he starts shooting at him. Because what's happened is during the fight, Malachris got bored and started attacking the Sons of Horus.
Oh my gosh. Of
For God's
course.
sake. I think maybe the 8th Legion was the wrong pick. He should have gone in the 12th.
Yeah. And only this, but Vociferon has also started attacking the Sons of Horus because they've received orders to start attacking them. And they think it's like, is that Eidolon telling us? I think so. If he's telling us to go attack the Sons of Horus, okay, I suppose we're attacking them now, fuck it. Eidolon puts up a brief fire, but even he realizes, I can't take on an entire squad of Space Marines by myself because that would just be suicide, especially when they're led by a Praetor as well. No, that's just dumb. I'm just going to make a tactical retreat, contacts the ships, send me reinforcements now, you bastards. Right, thank you for the reinforcements. Right, let's go kick the shit out of the Sons of Horus. But first, Malachris, come here.
Bonk.
Why did you attack the Sons of Horus? You ordered me to. Punch. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. And Vociferon's like, yeah, you did. You gave us the order to. I don't like Malachris, but I have to agree with him on this. You told us to do so. And Eidolon's like, no, I didn't. Did I? And all the while, Eidolon's been hearing little bits of voices creeping into the back of his fort, or seeing a little shade here and there. And it's the Shattered King. Basically,
I had a
fist
feeling
in his
it
mind.
was still fucking around.
Yeah. But yeah, big punch-up ensues between the Emperor's Children and the Sons of Horus, and Eidolon ends up in a fight with Gerog. Gerog puts up a really good fight, but in the end, Eidolon, smashes his head in with a hammer, and as soon as he does, all of reality shatters again.
Oh my
God's
gosh.
sake.
And Eidolon's just falling through this dreamscape, and Eidolon's like, okay, seriously, what the fuck is going on? By the way, demons are now pouring out onto the world because, of course, they are. It's chaos. What do you expect? And Eidolon now finds himself on Istvan. He's like, where the fuck am I?
Which Istvan, 3 or 5?
3.
Okay.
And he sees the Shad King step out before him. It's like, hello, me again. Yep. All this, yep. That's all me, yep. Oh, by the way, you're probably wondering who I am. And the fire starts taking a more coalescent shape. Purple and gold armor.
Is it a shard of Fulgrim?
It's not Fulgrim. It's Eidolon. It's the other half of his soul.
Oh, God.
Because remember, when Fulgrim cut off Eidolon's head, it was with the Anathame blade. And that shattered his soul.
Oh, okay.
And the Shad King is literally the other half of Eidolon's soul.
I wouldn't call it shattered, more like split. But yes.
Well, the book describes it as being shattered, so
Fair
I'm
enough.
going with that. There's a reason he's called the Soul Severed. So, just so you know.
Yes, I know.
And Eidolon's like, hang on, what the fuck? And Shad King starts explaining, yes, I was created when, Fulgrim killed us, and then when Fabius brought you back to life, I was still here in the warp. But we can be whole again now. Yay, all you gotta do is surrender yourself to me. And Eidolon's like, hang on, surrender? There's no way in hell I'm going to surrender, because that's a sign of weakness. I'm going to scream at you now, like Sonic Scream, like Force Roda, boom. And they have a fight. Of course they do. And Eidolon ends up winning. He ends up, like, again, crushing the head of his own soul. Don't ask me how that works. It's the warp. Everything can happen. But as they're fighting, they're going through, like Istvan 3, Istvan 5, murder, chemos, all in this dreamscape. And when he ends up killing the Shattered King, he, like, dedicates this kill to Slaanesh. And that ends up, like, restoring all of reality back to how it should be. And Eidolon finds himself now at the bottom of this massive pit, this massive crater. And the other Emperor's children are slowly making their way to him, because they're like, okay, what the hell is going on? They just feel this compulsion to basically all rally together at this one point. And as they're just staring at him, Eidolon hears clapping, but none of the other Marines are clapping.
Oh, God. Now what?
Oh,
He turns, he's looking around, and then Fulgrim steps out saying, like, wonderfully done, my son, wonderfully done.
Is this actually Fulgrim?
And Eidolon looks at Fulgrim and goes, hang on, did you set this all up? Yep. Why? I was bored.
I mean, that is
Literally the reason. I was like, I was bored, so I wanted you to entertain me, and you did. You exceeded all expectations. Yay. And Eidolon just gets really pissed off at Fulgrim at this point.
as you would.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they end up having a brief scuffle. Now, to Eidolon's credit, he ends up knocking over Demon Fulgrim with a psychic scream. That's how powerful Eidolon's scream is. He can, like, basically knock over a Demon Primarch with it, which is no small feat, whichever way you look at it.
Well, any old bloody dragon priest can knock over a dragonborn, so, you know, I suppose someone can ask to be able to do it.
But, obviously, Fulgrim just bodies him and is like, no, you always have to be the contrarian child, don't you, Eidolon? Oh dear, after all I've done for you, it's like, you do nothing but be a disappointment despite, you know, being all full of promise and piss and vinegar. You're still a disappointment, but what we need to do, we need to get to Terra. Now, can you do that for me, Eidolon? Can you actually get to Terra? Yeah, do I actually have enough faith in you to do so? Yes, we can get to Terra. Good boy, I'm going now. See ya! Fulgrim fucks off, and Eidolon's like, right, let's get to Terra, lads. The end. Essentially.
I can't believe Fulgrim pulled out the mom guilt trip.
He did. He genuinely did. But Eidolon was not having any of it. He was like, I'm not taking this shit. Fuck you.
Well, now that we know who the Shattered King is, it makes sense why that headshot got him out of that other that tear in space.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But yeah, all in all, a pretty good book. I had a bit of a spinning wheels at the start when they're just going on about, like, we're stuck in the warp, we're stuck in the warp, we're stuck in... Yes, I know we're stuck in the warp, get on with it! Kind of thing. But it's a book that, if you're an Emperor's Children fan, you'll love it. But if you're not an Emperor's Children fan, I wouldn't necessarily say it's worth going out of your way to read. But if you were to read it, you're not going to have a bad time. You're going to enjoy it regardless. But I wouldn't necessarily call it a must-read, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I can follow that. It sounds like one of those, if you're either going to go, oh, God, again? Or you're going to be like, oh, good. That makes more sense now. I can see both.
I mean, it has some interesting things go on in it. But you're not exactly going to learn anything new unless you really want to learn, you know, more about Eidolon. And something just fell over behind me. What the fuck was that? Who knows? Anyway. But yeah, all in all, a very enjoyable book. And coming out of the spoiler room now, and wow, I can't believe Eidolon faced off against Kenny Omega. Amazing. We'll never stop with the wrestling references, don't ask. So what about you, Aurelia? Have you read anything new recently?
Me? No, nothing that is new by any means. It's all stuff that's been out for probably years. I think the only thing that I read right after it was released was The End and the Death last year. So part 2 and 3. So I haven't been keeping up with the more recent titles, but I should now, because you two both read books that recently came out. I'm like, well, I want to talk about fun books that are new. So I think I'm going to have to read those two that you guys talked about and get my hands on the new ones that come out this year.
Yeah, it's a bit like sometimes I've got the next book I'm reading's Wraithbone Phoenix, which is like the original Rattling and Ogrin Warhammer crime novel is my next read. So you don't always have to read, oh, this is new, I must read it, because sometimes you just run into absolute duds. But yeah.
And sometimes we also read some older books as well, in fairness, so.
Yeah.
Like generally books we haven't read, period, so.
Yeah, at the moment I just kind of hop around to what I find to be interesting. Mostly anything with the Imperium. I'll read any of that, but as it stands, I don't keep tabs on what's new and what like newer books are good either. So, but I really want to read more now. So once I finish Twice Dead King Reign, I'll be reading more.
Good. You'll really enjoy Reign. Having read it myself, you will enjoy it.
I'm like halfway through it now, I think. Yeah. We're talking to the Warlock. That's where we're at. So it's a bit intense right now.
Is that just before you got... Have you gotten to the Trebuchet yet?
Yeah, Trebuchet, we went to the world, and we're just leaving the Warlock to go get tested. To see if we're a worthy king. I say we, but I mean Ultix.
It's the royal we.
Yeah,
so it's appropriate.
Yeah, you just insert yourself into whatever the main character is.
So we are Ultix. We are the Twice Dead King.
And I mean, and he's wearing all this gold, so I mean, I get confused so easily with all the gold.
He's a necrostodian. There you go.
Oh gosh.
Right. Any questions this week, Neve?
Apart from why will this one not drink milk? I'll have a look.
Also, I apologise for the state of my voice. I recently learned that you can develop allergies later on in life, and I've developed a mild allergy to nuts, or at the very least to hazelnuts.
Oh my gosh.
So my throat is kind of fucked. Yeah, I found out firsthand last night. It's like, oh, lovely.
There's only one.
Lay it on us.
So it applies to the whole artificial perpetuals thing, because we've been talking about perpetuals for like 3 episodes in a row.
What's it about perpetuals? So we get nothing but perpetual questions as of late.
So if the rules...
Is it because of my Men of Gold video or something?
I don't know.
Talked about perpetuals.
So it says, if the rules of artificial perpetuals still apply, doesn't that mean the one character from the early Dawn of Fire books who got brought back to life is now a perpetual too?
Oh, which one was that? Was that the...
I can't remember. It's been too long since I read them.
Oh, was that the Fenrisian rogue trader who was resurrected at the end of
Wolf Time.
Rogue Trader book?
No, it's from Dawn of Fire, so it would have been...
Yeah, but she appeared in Dawn of Fire, is my point.
Oh yeah, she was in the 4th one.
Yeah. Is it her?
I'm not sure. But she got brought back to life by a rune priest, so I'm guessing so.
Yeah. It depends purely because, well, I don't recall... Oh, I've not read many more of the Dawn of Fire books myself, because that's been your job, Neve.
And she's not come up again.
Yeah, so I don't know if she's, like, got injured and then instantly healed or, like, regenerated or anything like that, so...
No, I don't remember at that level. That was that Dawn of Fire book. I think it was... not Wall of Martyrs, that was a terrain piece. Martyr's Tomb was the one I think I actually liked the least out of the whole series, and so I don't remember much about it. It was like the main plot beats, and she was not on the main plot beat. She was just around.
Right. In theory, it could still apply. It depends on how the writers continue to use that, and if they want to like actually have her regenerate from wounds and stuff like that. I mean, in theory, I see no reason why it shouldn't be a thing, rather. The only person I can think of being an exception to that rule is Eidolon. Purely because when he was killed initially, he was killed by the Anathame blade and that shattered his soul. So that probably has an effect on it, because an Anathame blade is something that can genuinely kill a perpetual.
Yes, because it killed Vulcan twice. At least twice.
Yes. And the time he was resurrected the second time, the implication was he lost his perpetuality. So, don't at me. That's what Old Earth implies.
Yeah.
And also that one Siege of Terror book, when he does resurrect himself constantly against the fight against Magnus, and Magnus says, it's not you doing it, it's him doing it. So there's the implication as well. Magnus pretty much confirms that it's not Vulcan himself being a perpetual anymore. So there you go.
Yeah, that is unfortunately the only question that is on hand, or certainly it's the only one indicated with the word question.
Never mind. Well, if you would like to have your questions answered in a future episode, then leave your questions down below with the word question prefacing them so we can actually find it when we Control F.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even need to Control F. There's only about 20 comments because it came out on Christmas Day, so I just scrolled.
Ah, fair enough.
So I didn't even see them. I'll just scroll back up and check I didn't miss one. Someone does have a little dig at your issue with the change this quote that pissed you off so much. Apparently Star Trek did it first.
Oh, in First Contact, wasn't it?
Yes, that's what the comment says.
Oh god, yeah, I remember that. I think I was actually in the trailer. Assimilate this. It was stupid then as well.
Yes, but I think that's the comment saying, this is not just 40k writing being bad. This is...
In fairness, I never said it was bad. I just said it was not a quote for a Space Marine. It was a Guardsman quote.
Yes, fair.
It was a quote that did not fit an Exorcist Marine. Like, if it was like a Catachan Jungle Fire, it'd be perfect.
Yeah.
If it was an Underhive Ganger, it'd be perfect.
But it's not an Exorcist.
Hell, I'd even argue for an Inquisitorial Desperado, it'd be perfect. But not a demon-hunting Space Marine.
No, I think that is completely fair.
It's like having Caldor Drago turn up and saying, like, totally radical, dude. It's like
having Caldor Drago turn up at all.
I mean, in fairness, he does turn up now and again. Because he was in Pandorax, wasn't he? Or was that before he got banished to the warp?
Pandorax is set quite a while ago, but I don't believe he was pre-banishment. I believe he did just rock up.
Yeah, because he rocked up to help Azrael, didn't he?
Correct.
It was like, sup? And Azrael's like, the hell are you doing here? This is my book, piss off. So, well, actually, it's the Guardsman book, because the Guardsman, like, single-handedly took out a Plague Marine by himself. Which is just baffling to me. One Catachan Jungle Fight taking out a Plague Marine.
Yeah, I still remember
with a knife.
That one scene in, I think it's First and Only, the original Gort's Ghost novel, where a single Iron Warrior Space Marine turns up and it's suddenly just like, oh god, this just got real.
Yeah, it was like that in that Tao short story, Redemption on Daleth, with the stasis exhibit of the Space Marine fighting the very old Crisis suit, and the stasis field fails, and then they're brought back into the present, and the Space Marine just ends up killing like 20 Fire Warriors single-handedly. That was mad. I actually like that book purely because it shows like just how dangerous a fully kitted out Space Marine Terminator can be.
To be fair, like a Space Marine with him without their armour is probably that dangerous, but admittedly the Tau weapons would cut him down because
it was more
plasma.
It was more dangerous because A, it was a Terminator, and B, it was a Chapter Master.
Well, yeah. Like I would expect a Chapter Master with no armour to solo 10 Fire Warriors.
20.
No, but even with no armour. Like, forget the Terminator armour.
And the only reason the Crisis suit won is because the Chapter Master made the brilliant decision of not wearing a helmet, so the Crisis suit just stepped on his head and killed him that way.
Oh.
Yeah, who was I talking to? Where did I see someone, like, talking about, like, Space Marine Sergeants not wearing helmets and, like, almost a defence for it? I saw it somewhere and I've forgotten where now.
I know one person said, so they don't have a restricted peripheral vision, which is probably like the only real justification. So you can actually get full peripheral vision without a helmet.
But then you've got all that neck guard and all the stuff around the back plus your backpack. So yeah, you've got peripheral vision, but you still haven't got great actual vision.
No, but that's the only defense I can think of, aside from like maybe from a morale standpoint, like look how brave your commander is, like follow me into hell kind of thing.
For a Chapter Master with an Iron Halo, sure. For a random jabroni sergeant, not necessary.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I remember vaguely with the Sisters of Battle, it's like, you only get a helmet when you prove you don't need one. Kind of thing. It's like the Cling Ring in Demon Souls. You only get your health bar when you don't need it. I think it's called the Cling Ring. The one that allows you to, like, keep 75% of your health bar when you die instead of just half.
I haven't played Demon Souls. I have no chance of knowing this. Sorry.
Hot take, but Demon Souls is better than Dark Souls in every way. But yeah, that's it for the questions that I imagine then. So, yeah. Again, sorry if this episode ends up being a bit short. It's just purely because there's not been that much news since Christmas.
No,
understandably so.
Okay, one fun little segment to end on then. I've just come up with an idea on the top of my head.
Oh, God.
New Year predictions. We already know what we're getting at the start of this year with Eldari and Emperor's Children. We know, like, from the roadmap some of the other things that are coming. But apart from what's already been confirmed, or even within the ranges that have been confirmed, but something within them, what is your prediction for something coming out this year?
By something coming out, do you mean something brand new or something like a refresh?
Either. So either something they've announced and something within the ranges they've announced can be new, can be a refresh, or a range/mini they've not announced yet that you think may come out this year. And don't worry, you don't have to be realistic. You can go say something wacky. It's fine.
I'm going to say a mini range refresh for the Drukhari.
That's a good shout.
I don't have any good predictions. I haven't been keeping an eye on what's been coming out, so I really only have 1 year to go off of. If I was being hopeful, I think I would be maybe not minis. And probably not minis, but I'm interested to see, since they're coming back with all the demon Primarchs, I'm wondering if we'll see another Loyalist Primarch soon. So I'll go with the lore side, less mini side.
Okay, fair. I think you're probably a year early. I think that'll be next year.
I think I was thinking that too, since Lion was, what was that, last year or 2 years ago? But
Lion
still,
was 2023, wasn't he?
Okay. So, yeah,
well,
2 years
he can't have
ago.
been 2024 because he'd have won Mini of the Year. So, yeah, it has to be 2023.
Yeah, so I have my my fingers crossed. It'd be nice if we had another one, but we'll see.
I'm going to have to disagree with him on that personally. I think we've already got too many Loyalist Primarchs personally. Stop bringing them back. We don't need any more.
One's enough. One's arguably too many, but one's enough.
True.
I mean, like, Gilliman made sense because we knew where he was. He was in the Temple of Hera on the Crag. We knew where he was. He just needed, Deus Ex Machina of, Space Elf Goth Girlfriend to wake him up.
Yeah, Lion's the same. He needed a Deus Ex Machina to wake up.
Yeah, but with Lion was confirmed to be alive. So, okay, those two are justifiable.
I'm just holding out hope that we get Sanguinius back eventually. That's what I hope for. I know we won't.
No. That is generally do you want to undermine the entire Horus Heresy in 5 fucking minutes?
I know. I'm well aware. But a girl's got a dream just a little bit. He's my favorite Primarch, and I like him a lot. But I do agree it would undermine the whole Horus Heresy. And even if he does come back, it's not going to be right. There's going to be something that is just wrong about it. So, and my girl brain hopes, well, no, let's say my heart hopes for it, but my brain wouldn't really like it if he did come back.
Fair. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to go Magnus Transfigured.
Ooh. That's a bold shout.
Well, they've already done Horus, they've already done Fulgrim. Mortarion isn't a demon at the time of the siege.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. What the fuck am I saying? They all are at this, but apart from Lorgar and Perturabo aren't yet, are they?
Lorgar and Perturabo aren't, and Magnus became a demon during the siege.
Okay, it won't be I'm going to go Angron. I'll change my answer and I'm going to go Angron.
Okay. That makes sense because he was the second to ascend.
Yeah, so I'm going to go Angron Transfigured, but because then you can have someone actually wielding Gorefather and Gorechild, like, properly, as a demon.
Well, because Khan's got Gorechild.
Yeah, by the siege?
Yeah. Khan had Gorechild long before the siege. He had Gorechild, during the Shadow Crusade.
Oops.
Because,
okay, the Black Blade. I want to see the Black Blade. That's the other reason.
Because Angron was using Gorefire on Gorechild. Gorechild got damaged, and Angron discarded Gorechild. Khan picked up, and the other World Eaters were like, "Oh, that's a bad omen. You should never pick up a weapon that's been discarded. That's bad luck."
Okay.
And Khan was like, "Fuck you, it's Promox weapon. I'm having it."
Fair enough. So I think Angron transfigured, and I also think that for 40k, I don't know. Like, I want to say the meme answer, which is Plastic Thunderhawk, but
we might get it. In fairness, we've already had the Plastic Squads. We had the Battle refresh. Plastic Thunderhawk is next.
It is. I think obviously we had 40k a couple of years ago, so we've not got 40k due a new edition until next year. Wait, no, year after. AOS is next year. I think we're due a new edition of Heresy actually, or something this year. So 40k.
Do you know what's amazing?
What?
Do you know what's amazing? We're still in the same edition of Necromunda from 2017.
Fair.
That's a great run for Necromunda. 7 years of this edition.
All right, then one last.
That's amazing.
Oh, speaking of Necromunda, I'm going to say I hope we get Scalies or one of the other like major mutants alongside the Gene Stealers. Now,
yes.
Now we're in Hive Secundus,
Scabby
you can
Gang,
really
yes.
start messing with them. I want to see Scalies or something like that.
Oh, I want to see the return of the Ratskin Renegades.
Oh, and I want Umbraneth, the new Dark Elves for AOS with Malerian.
Oh yeah, the ones they spoiled and then quickly deleted, and I just changed to Malerian's followers instead of Umbraneth.
Yeah, I want I've wanted the Umbraneth for a while, but I don't know if AOS is quite plot ready for them yet. Wait, why did I say AOS was next year? AOS new edition came out this year. So yeah, I can't.
It's like one time of Warhammer Fantasy when Demons came out, it was so broken they had to put a new edition out just to fix it.
So it's new Heresy next year, then it's 40k the year after, and it's AOS the year after. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, Umbraneth, Angron Transfigured, and Scalies.
Fair enough. And that's a Loyalist Promet for Aurelia and a Drukhari range refresh from me.
Yeah, I'm not even sure who's made the wackiest prediction there, considering Drukhari went 20 years without a range refresh last time.
Which means they're due for a new one.
No, I don't think we'll see Sanguinius, but I could genuinely see them doing Jagatai Khan soon. I genuinely could. I don't think it'll be this year, but I think it might be next year.
I think the Khan is the most reasonable choice. Sanguinius, if he ever comes back, which he probably
40k
won't.
will have officially jumped the Karkaran Astra.
It will be the very last Loyalist, I believe.
If they do Sanguinius, then they need to do an End Times. Like, Russ and Sanguinius are kind of like your End Times kind of Primarchs. And I'm aware that phrase is extremely charged, fantasy people. I know how charged that phrase is. I don't say it lightly.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, given the time, we shall call it there for the episode. So, thank you very much to everyone who tuned in for this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. And thank you very much to Aurelia Tempris for joining us this episode.
Thank you so much for having me. I had such a blast. I loved looking at all the minis this time around. I felt like I had a lot to contribute. So thank you so much for having me, and Happy New Year to you both.
Happy New Year to you too, and Happy New Year to everyone watching. So, until next time, this has been Remleiz from 40k Theories.
This has been Neve and Gundrone for Tactica Imperialis.
That's your cue, Aurelia.
Shoot, am I supposed to say something?
Yes.
I'm sorry. And I am Aurelia Tempris.
And we'll see you all again next time. Bye-bye.